Hey coin collectors, and welcome to DC Coin World International Coin Channel. And let me start off with an apology. I did a video when I talked about the Australia 10-cent coin just peripherally. It actually had nothing to do with the video I was doing. And I turned one over and I said, oh, that's some kind of a fish there. And sorry to Stuart Devlin. And sorry to you from Australia. And apologies all the way around. It's not some kind of a fish. It's the Australian lyrebird. And I know that because I've done a couple other videos with the Australian lyrebird in it. And it's, of course, a bird that was, I guess, initially introduced to Tasmania. It can mimic almost any other bird and other species sounds. And you see it has this huge plumage that comes way over it. And so we see the back here of it, and then the feathers come up and go all the way around. And then way down in here we can see the man who deserves my apologies the most, and that's of course Stuart Devlin right here, the SD, and he's the engraver of this coin. Now when you look at these coins, there's not going to be a whole lot of different identifying marks on them, but there is on one of them, so I want to talk to you a little bit about that. In 1966, Australia first came out with the decimalization coins in Australia. In other words, they went from the Australian pound, or 240 pennies, to the dollar, or 480 half pennies to the dollar, to the Australian dollar, which had 100 cents to the dollar. Now, some other people said, don't ever call the new one a cent if you're, a penny if you're talking about Australia. Don't call the 1 cent a penny in Australia anymore. We kind of do that in the United States, though, don't we? We call it the Lincoln penny, even though in nowhere on it does it say a penny. And I think it's just something we brought with us from England, or the United Kingdom. Anyways, here on the front it says Elizabeth II in back of her head, Australia, 1966, in front of her face. And she's wearing, if I can get it a little closer, the Girls of... Wait, what happened there? The Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara with the 2 points on the front. If we tip it up, we see that it is a reeded edge. And some of these, we did a video, we talked about how some of these are so smooth, you think it's a smooth coin, but it's not. So like right in here, you can't even see the reeded edge. It's still a reeded edge. It's just, this is how they wore in circulation. And I think people tell me many of them wore out that way from being put into machines, candy machines or soda machines or whatever. When we get to the back, on the 1966, this is one of the ones that we can see identifiers on. And so what you do is you look here, right above my pen, and see these little spikes coming out of the tail of the lyrebird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You look until you essentially follow this line up here, straight up through, and that line, when you follow it up through, this line, when you follow it right up through, straight across, you count to there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there are 5 of those mini spikes, that means that the coin was, it means, what it means is, let me go way back on that. If there are 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If there are 5 of them, that means there's 11 total. If there's 6 of them before you get to the straight line here, as you get to the straight line, that means that there are 12 of them total. And so if there are 12 of these spikes total, it's from the London Mint. If there are 11 of these spikes total, it's from the Canberra Mint. And so this one more time, see the spikes right above there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Till you get to the straight across. And then you go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 way at the top. So there are only 11 spikes in here, so that means this is from the Canberra Mint. What does that mean for a collector? Well, it means it's worth, in this condition, 30 to 40 cents, maybe 50 cents, rather than 7 to 10 cents. So it adds a little bit of value if it was made at the Canberra Mint, and that's because only 10,940,000 of these were made in 1966, at the Canberra Mint, and 30 million were made at the London Mint. Now, there are some other things about the 1966 that are kind of interesting, and that is that they put it out in a bunch of different ways. They actually put a proof set out in a sealed case, but they only made 12 of them. So we don't even know what that might be worth. We just know that they made 12, and it's hugely valuable. We also know that in 1966 they did 18,000 proof year sets, and this coin from a proof year set would be worth $50 to $60 US. An essentially huge amount of money if it was from a proof year set. And of course, it isn't. You just look at it and you can tell it's not. And then they also did some blue card year sets, uncirculated they call them, 77,000 of those. And then 15,000 blue vinyl wallet sets. And then they did 70 Operation Fastbuck wallets, 70, 12,260 Reserve Bank colored wallets, and 520 VI presentation wallets. So there's all these different versions of the 66 out there, and the way you can identify those is always from the packaging. People don't take them out of the package. Even though they made 77,250 uncirculated year sets, people don't take them out of the package because it just reduces the value too much. So, all right, so that's the 66. What else have we got here today? Here's a 68. So in 66, they made total about 41 million. In 67, they made 51 million. In 68, this year, they made 57 million. And none of these are very valuable. They're all worth 15 to 20 cents. Here's the 67. The year they made 51 million. So first year, second year, third year they made them. And then here's a 1970. By 1970, they were starting to say, look, we've got a lot of these around. So in 69 and 70, they only made 22 million. And then by the time you get to 1972, that's a year you probably want to try to collect if you can. In 1972, they only made 12.5 million of them. And so 1972 is the lowest circulation year of any of the years. In fact, it's about a quarter of many other years until you get to 1977. So looking for these, look for 1972, look for any that are in packaging, uncirculated, any kind of proof or proof year sets. Now, when you look at these coins, you see the Stuart Devlin. Now, of course, Stuart Devlin also did the 5-cent coin from Australia. And Stuart Devlin did something else that's kind of cool. Well, let's see if we can find the SD signature on here. And there you can see it right underneath. Right down here. It's a kind of smushed SD there. He also did some coins for Singapore, including the really famous kind of swordfish coin that's going in a circle. And you can see the swordfish here. And this is just a beautiful coin, but when we turn it over, even though it seems to match a lot of the Australian kind of stylish coins, when we turn it over, you'll see that it is not an Australia coin. And anyway, this is a 72 Singapore 20-cent coin. And again, as I said, this is a Stuart Devlin coin also. Now, they also made 20-cent coins for Australia, though, and this is the Australian one. And of course, that's a duck-billed platypus. There's a couple different versions of that. Again, it's a smooth edge looking, right? But look real closely, and you'll see that this actually has a reeded rim on it too that kind of wore off. So these coins all, except for this one, see what happens is this one didn't go into the coin machines as much, and so you can still see the rim on it. But if you look at the other ones, many of the other ones, you see that their rims kind of get faded over time, and it really depends on their use. So look at all the different kinds of rims we have here. This is a pure one on the 5, and then there's the next best, worst. These two end ones are the worst. So that'll happen with Australian coins. They will, the older coins, they will be kind of worn out and worn off. All right, that's all we have today from the DC Coinwell International Coin Channel. Again, this is a Lyrebird, and I know it's a Lyrebird. It's a copper nickel coin, weighs 5.66 grams, first introduced in 1966. They stopped making this particular version. Of course, this is the Arnold Machen version. They stopped making this particular version in 1984, but then they came out with some more in 2019. So you might see one that looks just like this from 2019 with the second portrait on it. All right, have a great day from DC Coin World International Coin Channel. We'd love to have you subscribe to our channel and leave any comments you might have in the comments section.